all. Now, a State Bank of India report has claimed that Bharat has created 12.5 crore jobs during the FY 14 to 23 period compared to only 2.9 crore jobs during the FY 04 to 14 period. Additionally, a total employment reported by micro, small and medium enterprises registered with the MSME ministry has crossed the 20 crore mark. So somewhere the government is trying to say, yes, we have created jobs over the last 10 years and far more than what was created in the previous 10-year period. Meanwhile, Austrian physicist and Nobel laureate Anton Zeilinger, who met Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Vienna on Wednesday, called the Indian Prime Minister a very spiritual person. He said that this is a feature which more leaders in the world should imbibe and should have today. Indian origin Shivani Raja has become the first Conservative MP to win the Leicester East seat in 37 years. This victory was marked by a symbolic oath-taking ceremony as she swore her allegiance to the United Kingdom Parliament or the UK Parliament on the sacred Bhagavad Gita. She was not alone. Another Conservative MP, Bob Blackman, took oath of allegiance to King Charles by holding the King James's Bible in one hand and the Bhagavad Gita in the other. Notably, this isn't the first time that Bob Blackman has taken oath with the Bhagavad Gita. He did so back in 2019 as well. Rahul Dravid's magnanimity on display again. The outgoing head coach has refused to take an additional 2.5 crore that the BCCI awarded to be on par with the rest of the support staff. Rahul Dravid will take home only 2.5 crore bonus, the same as the rest of the support staff. And first up on this edition of The Right Stand, we've just got news coming through in a landmark order closer home at the Jammu and Kashmir High Court. And the High Court of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh has mandated the administration to protect unattended temples and shrines from encroachments and the land mafia in Jammu and Kashmir and in Ladakh, which means unattended Kashmiri Pandit temples will be protected by the state. This judgment is likely to protect and determine the fate of scores of such Hindu religious temples and properties in Kashmir that have remained in disuse since the exodus of the 90s or have been unfairly taken over or encroached upon. There is a further hearing stated for the 18th of July, that is for later this month, and thereafter furthermore in some of the cases, but the judgments in the cases so far, especially in the case of 3 temples, points to the direction where the courts are saying that the state must intervene. The district magistrates have been empowered to take over, do a survey, take over and ensure there is no encroachment of these unattended temples and shrines. Ananya Bhatnagar joins us with more details. Yes, Ananya.
Definitely, Anand, it's a very significant order as far as Kashmiri Hindus are concerned, because their lands had been, encroached upon, and that's a very, very significant order that comes in from a division bench of the Jammu and Kashmir High Court, wherein the High Court clearly points out that, the temple doesn't belong to a particular party. The temple belongs to the deity, and before adjudication of that particular issue, these 2 temples were in question in this particular order have to be protected, is what in fact the Jammu and Kashmir High Court says. The direction has been given to the district magistrate there to actually, appoint, in fact, the pujari is also there and also protect those particular points of land. And not only this, this order can serve as a landmark judgment coming in, at least as far as the Kashmiri Pandits and the temples, at least in the J&K area are concerned. So very significant order coming in from the Jammu and Kashmir High Court.
Yes, and we are given to understand that the courts now, in court order in one of the case, Justice Sanjeev Kumar has actually allowed a petition by the members of the Kashmiri Pandit community and directed the district magistrate of North Kashmir Ganderbal district to preserve, protect and maintain 2 Hindu religious shrines, namely the Ashtapan Devraj Bhairav situated in Nuner village of the district and the Vidushe shrine, which is and to take requisite steps under the J&K Migrant Immovable Property Preservation, Protection and Restraint on Distress Sales Act 1997. So multiple petitions now being clubbed together. Ananya, a big significant step.
Well, definitely, Anand, it's a significant step, because not only in these cases, but also when, further claims would come out of other land which are temple sites, that would also, this judgment would set as a precedent. This would be a precedent from the Jammu and Kashmir High Court that would be acted upon. And very clearly, this is a big win, at least for the Kashmiri Hindus who had, lost their lands, who had lost their lives in since the 1990s. And now, somewhere or the other, they're getting back that particular justice first when the Supreme Supreme Court had passed this historic judgment with regards to the Reconstitution Commission, and now this Jammu and Kashmir High Court order is something that comes out as a little breather for those Kashmiri Hindus who had lost a lot during the 1990s and the 1991.
Yes, we're given to understand that this could perhaps govern the fate of hundreds of pending cases, and now the matter is listed to decide on the leftover cases on the coming Thursday, that is the 18th of July. And important to mention that properties which were occupied and approached directly, influenced or directly or indirectly by certain members who are currently under the spotlight of the state for their malpractices, they will actually now be taken up. Some of these properties have been forcefully taken over also, and one or two elements who are responsible for this, who are part of the Jammu and Kashmir High Court in the past, they will all now come under scrutiny. So, big development this in Jammu and Kashmir, the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh will see unattended temples, religious institutions, shrines, which will now be protected by the local administration. The state will have to intervene. That's the direction that's being taken given the judgments of the 9th of July and also an updated order that's been passed with more cases, all cases being clubbed, and they are going to be heard on the 18th of July. Ananya, thank you for your inputs. Let's get a move on, ladies and gentlemen, and putting the nation first and taking a principled stand. Many would ask, why is it half-baked and why only one sport? But somewhere, this not going to play cricket with Pakistan, not playing a bilateral series with Pakistan in Pakistan, has been a steadfast position taken by the BCCI. Pakistan and its proxies not only bleeding Bharat by pushing terror unabated across the border into Jammu and Kashmir, but more importantly, despite playing at a multilateral platform, despite the Pakistan team visiting Bharat for the World Cup last year, towards the end of last year, and playing Pakistan at T20 World Cup on international soil, Bharat has been very, very clear that we will not travel to Pakistan and play any cricket in Pakistan. They have always drawn this line. They have been supported by the government, instructed by the government, but the BCCI taking a principled position that the ICC Champions Trophy early next year, 2025, in Pakistan, Bharat will not travel. The BCCI actually plans to request the ICC to relocate their matches to either Sri Lanka or Dubai, like they have been done in the past. The PCB, meanwhile, has proposed that Bharat will play all its matches only at one destination, one location, that is Lahore. But the BCCI is simply not interested in travelling to Pakistan. Remember, Bharat has not played cricket in Pakistan since the 2008 Asia Cup and since 26/11. So, the entire principal position continues on since 2008. The last bilateral series between the arch rivals was played in Bharat between in December 2012 to 2013, and since then their encounters have been limited to only ICC tournaments and the Asia Cup. So Pakistan travelling to India has also has been discouraged. No bilateral series with Pakistan has been encouraged by the BCCI. Why so? Pakistan state-sponsored terrorism or proxy war, this intent to bleed Bharat with 1,000 cuts, has been going on for nearly about 4.5 to 5 decades, if not more. In the recent past, we've seen Bharat taking a much more stronger position, especially when it comes to playing the sport, cricket. We've played multiple other disciplines, multiple other sports, but the amount of money riding, ladies and gentlemen, that is key, and that's where it perhaps hurts. We'll come to that in a bit. 1993 Mumbai Blast. Bharat waits till 1997 to play an ODI series in Pakistan. 2001 Parliament attack. Bharat tours Pakistan for a full test series only in 2004. But even in 2004, there was a series of bomb blasts in Bharat around that time. Pakistan tours India in 2005. India tours Pakistan again in 2006. But all this Aman Ki Asha exactly yields nothing but the 26/11 Mumbai attacks, and Bharat called off this proposed series in Pakistan in 2009 soon after. Bharat and Pakistan clashed in the World Cup semi-final in Mohali in 2011. 2016 Pathankot and Uri attacks happen, and Bharat and Pakistan face over the Asia Cup in Dubai. Pak visits India for the ICC T20 World Cup. in 2019 and the Pulwama attacks happened. BCCI urges ICC to sever ties with terror states. Pak cricketers' photos were removed from the Mohali Stadium. A lot that has transpired, and even now, ladies and gentlemen, just about a few days after Bharat has won the T20 World Cup, Bharat and Pakistan have played each other. We've had a series of terror attacks in the Jammu region of Jammu and Kashmir. Meanwhile, Pakistan's economy currently in doldrums, and perhaps the only way, the only stick that Bharat has decided would be the economic one. Big bucks for Pakistan come from Bharat-Pakistan cricket. The PCB, its coffers are running dry. The entire bunch of selectors have been sacked yet again. They don't have any organization as far as cricket is concerned. Ramiz Raja's efforts also put paid that and all his braggadocio coming to a naught. Meanwhile, how much Pakistan could lose considering Bharat is refusing to play? PCB has lost $47.22 million due to the scrapping of the series in 2009. Back into that was the money riding then. Imagine what's the money riding now, at least about 15 years later. Here's what at stake for the Champions Trophy at Pakistan. At the very least, they would have to break a hit of at least 17 billion rupees that they are spending on the upgradation of the 3 stadiums across the country. But if one was to make a few estimates, Pakistan could lose $1.1 million at gate money collections alone, since Bharat has decided to skip the travel to Pakistan. Now, is this right? Is this wrong? Is this enough? Or is there a way beyond this? If you ask the Fauji would turn around and say, count the number of bullets, and as many number of bullets, 10 times that refuse to play, have any truck with Pakistan at all, because that's how they need to be taught a lesson. Anand Ranganathan, author, commentator, scientist with us, Ishkaran Bhandari, advocate with us, and Major General Yasir Janjua, security analyst joining us from Pakistan. Omar Altaf, a Pakistani journalist, also with us. There are multiple positions here. Many would believe that sport should not come in the way of politics, but cricket has been used as a tool from both sides. So, where does one stand? Dr. Ranganathan.
Good evening, Anand, and good evening to my fellow panelists. Look, thank you very much for that lovely informative primer, by the way. But I disagree with those who say politics should not enter sports. Of course, politics is of many hues, but I am talking of one that takes a principled, moral, ethical stand, not a tit for tat like what the USA and Soviet Union indulged in by boycotting the Olympics for the Afghanistan and Grenada invasions respectively. Anand, tell me, did we trade with apartheid South Africa for 40 years? At that time, one of the richest economies? No. Even though the guardians of human rights, America and Britain did. Did we play cricket with South Africa for 40 years, even though England did? So why didn't we? Because we took a principled, moral, ethical stand. We took a political decision. We didn't consider all the whites of South Africa as evil. In fact, we eulogized Dr. Christian Barnard and Nadine Gordimer. We were against their government and establishment. The same is the case with Pakistan. Anand, perhaps the only time I am prepared to believe in bad karma is when I see the kind of neighbor we have in Pakistan. कुछ तो गलत किया होगा हमने पिछले जन्म में जो हमें ऐसा नेबर मिला. The entire edifice of this nation is founded upon hatred for Hinduism and of India. From Jinnah, the man who ate pork and drank alcohol, to Imran, the man who rubbed dal makhani on his chest to attract the female of the species, to an army puppet now. Pakistan has been run by scheming charlatans filled with supremacist notions of religious brotherhood and hatred for India. The hatred became acute when Pakistan broke into two of its own internal stress. A nation that was based on religion could not keep itself together to even celebrate its silver jubilee. What more proof does one need that Pakistan is a rogue terror state when its sitting cabinet minister stays on the floor of its cave or parliament? And I quote, "Our big success in Pulwama is the success of Imran Khan's Pakistan. It is your success. It is our success," unquote. The rampant killings of Baluchs, of Kashmiris in POK, the hounding and murder of thousands of Ahmadiyas, the bombing and killing of Shias and Sufis. Pakistan is a case study in how not to run a nation. And as for its indifference bordering on collusion, we all know how Pakistan hasn't squeaked as much as a faint murmur on the internment of concentration camps of more than 1 million Uyghur Muslims by China. Leave aside 4 wars of Mumbai blast, of 26/11 or Pulwama or Dawood or Hafiz. Remember their death by 1,000 cuts preamble? Remember how they abducted and injured our envoy back in 2013? Remember how they orchestrated the 2008 attack on our embassy in Kabul? Remember when Iran said, and I quote, "The Pakistan army and ISI trained Al-Qaeda to fight in Afghanistan. There were always links between Pak and them. There had to be because they trained them," end quote. When was the last time you heard a Prime Minister of a country declaring that his country trains terrorists? These are special people, Anand, and they need special treatment. We need to give them a lesson, because a lesson not given is a lesson not learned.
Omar Altaf.
Anand, if this is a monologue, then we can go home.
Omar Altaf, go ahead.
Anand, I have been listening to the harangue of Mr. Ranganathan. Like, I'm not sure, like, what's the point of all this, what he's been saying. It's utter nonsense, what he's been alluding to. Why did India play Pakistan just a month ago in the ICC T20 World Cup? Was that okay? How does touring Pakistan is any different to playing Pakistan on neutral soil or in a multilateral tournament? Why is that so? Your Prime Minister visited Pakistan in 2014. Why did he do so? While your cricket team hasn't toured Pakistan since 2008. It's a hypocritical stance which has no sense at all. Obviously, India is a major market as far as cricket is concerned. 80% of the revenue that ICC generates is from India. So just trying to muscle their way around really doesn't make any sense. Why do you want to pollute sports with such petty politics? Look, you should try to win fair and square as you did in the ICC T20 World Cup. When you tried to rig the pitch in the World Cup you were hosting, you know, despite being favorite, despite your team being so good, you guys lost because you tried to doctor the pitch and you fell the grave you were trying to dig for the Australians. You fell in that yourself, and this boycott is also along those lines. You should compete, and you have a pretty good team. You would be favorites in the ICC Champions Trophy. You should visit and play. And when no team has any objection over the security measures, there are teams like England, Australia, New Zealand, and all other teams who are comfortable playing in Pakistan. We have hosted them successfully. What is India's concern? What is your problem? I fail to understand. It's a very hypocritical stance that you guys have taken over playing in Pakistan. Maybe a year later you would be playing in Pakistan.
Okay. Major Yasir Janjua, one sec, Dr. Ranganathan. Let everybody have their first word and then we take the crossfire. Yes, Major Yasir Janjua. Can you hear me, sir? Major Janjua, can you hear me? Okay, we seem to have lost Major Janjua there. We'll try and get him back. Ishkaran, your thoughts?
Anand, it's a very simple proposition. The lives of Indians are more important than any sport. You cannot have bombs, you cannot have stones being paid to be thrown at Indian armed forces or at Indian citizens, and at the same time have the ball being played at a cricket field. It's a very simple position. We don't have to go too far into it. But if we want to go far, let us understand the consequences of playing Pakistan. All nations do economic boycott of terror states. Pakistan has time and again done terror attacks on India. Its sole reason to exist is terror attacks on India. Why India with its economy? Incidentally, Maharashtra's economy is bigger than the economy of entire Pakistan. Market cap of Tata Group is bigger than the economy of Pakistan. Why should we allow the benefits of our economy to a nation which, when it makes money, will use that benefit to attack India? Whether it be in cricket, whether it be artists who are coming to sing here or to act in Bollywood movies, or whether it be artists who are painters, any sort of contact except official compulsory government contact you have to do with a terror state. Anything beyond that should not be done. Because let us be very clear, the fruits of the Indian labor, the benefit of the Indian labor, BCCI contributes 85% to ICC. BCCI gets only 40%. Even without meaning to, certain benefits of Indian economies go to Pakistan. We cannot stop it because we are a part of the global platform. But beyond that, to go to Pakistan, to allow it to earn money by television rights, advertisement, by promoting the economy of Pakistan, and also, can you guarantee they did Kandahar hijack? Can you guarantee our cricketers will be safe there? They will not be hijacked, they will not be kidnapped, and unreasonable demands will not come. And what do we take all this risk for? to enable a terror state to make money. So it's not a very complicated thing. It is not about boycotting. It is something to be very clear that a state which is going to sponsor terrorism, it has to be prevented at every stage, at each stage, and we will not risk our lives to legitimize a terror state beyond absolute minimum government contact necessary. I think that position has been going on, luckily since UPA era, and it should continue in this era also.
Major Janjua, you're
can I
back with
speak
us.
now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
We lost you
I
in
was-
between. I was coming to you and then we
I
lost
had
you in
to
the connection.
change my
Yeah, sure, go
Wi-Fi
ahead.
network because that was not doing well. Thank you very much for inviting me and letting me speak now. First, I will reply, if you don't mind, to Mr. Ranganathan's statement, calling and giving all sorts of excuses. But I have to be very humbly reminding him that your sitting Prime Minister has openly confessed his involvement in Mukti Bahani in the 1971 debacle. And Anand, that 1,000 cuts mention that you were making, that unfortunately was a statement by the Indians, by the Hindus for Pakistan. And the reality is that for last 76 years, and actually on the day the two countries were partitioned, you did not accept Pakistan. And ever since then, India has been trying to dismember Pakistan. It lost 2 wars, and then finally it conspired. I will let you, please give me the amount of time that you spoke. I will not even take that long,
No.
but I just have to give you what you've been saying. I just have to give you your own story back to you. So your Prime Minister being the biggest terrorist. Now, chor machaye shor wali baat hai. Terrorism is what you've done to us, and you're calling us terrorists. I fail to understand, which is why I must tell you this thing. The whole world knows. I don't need to sit here and convince you that the attack on the Sri Lankan team in Lahore, who was behind it? It is clear evidence that is available. The APS attack in Peshawar, where those innocent children were killed, there is established evidence. The dossier was given to United Nations. Who was behind it? So the terrorists are calling us the terrorists. And listen, if you think you want to damage Pakistani economy by not giving the revenue, by playing cricket with Pakistan, who's waiting for you? Who's dying to play with you?
Okay, one second. Let him speak.
Just relax, don't play. We are not begging you. The world will see, yourself, everybody will see, if you don't come to play Champions Trophy with Pakistan, as my Pakistani colleague rightly said. 1 month ago, you played against Pakistan in New York, and you have a problem playing Pakistan in Pakistan. Don't do it. Be my guest. Nobody is going to beg you. You will be singled out yourself. The world will see. Politics and games should be kept aside. That is why the Olympics actually in 1918 or 1932, whenever they started, the whole idea, actually in 1918, during the First World War, I believe, the whole idea was that the world should unite on a common cause for sports. And despite the World War, the Olympics did take place. The question is, India doesn't want to play Pakistan or in Pakistan. Be my guest. We are not dying for you. But terrorists should not call somebody else a terrorist. Your Prime Minister has confessed to terrorism. You have confessed to terrorism inside Pakistan, and you are continuously doing that. Do we all not know you have been trying to foment dissent in Balochistan? Okay, I'll let you speak now.
Thank you, Major Janjua. This was a serious debate show, but thank you for making it into a stand-up comedy. We are all allowed a few chuckles and laughs. Thank you very much.
We did that when Ranganathan was speaking.
I didn't interrupt you. अब आप सुन भी लीजिए. जितना बोलने के आप रख रहे हैं, तो फिर आप सुन भी लीजिए. The fact is that how to distort facts, you are a past master at it, and you showed that. But Dr. Ranganathan, would you want to respond kindly? Who used cricket to politicize as a political platform is very, very evident. Who openly backs jihadis and celebrates jihadis, relevant. The University
Anand,
of
can I say one thing before you let it go,
University of Terror. Where is it located? Where anybody can search and they'll find what it's
Anand,
called. What it's called, the University of Jihad.
Anand, let me give
Where it
one
exists,
sentence.
it's evident.
Ranganathan, just
I am,
one
sir.
sentence.
Contrary to your submissions, I am stating facts. You may want to dwell in fantasies, and that allows us a good dose of laughter, and I like that. Thank you very much. But yes, Anand Ranganathan wants to respond. Then Major Janju, then I'll allow you, sir. I'll allow you, sir.
First of all,
Sir.
I must apologize. Yes, I must apologize to the good Major Janjua. I think he's absolutely right. My apologies, General, because you're right. Osama bin Laden was found in Faridabad, not Abbottabad. India is the terror hub. Pakistan is not. And Abbottabad में Osama bin Laden थोड़ा ना मिला. Faridabad में भी दिल्ली के बगल में मिला है. And as far as this general, saying that politics should not enter sports, and he was talking about where they covered an Olympic movement. May I ask him, did or did not Pakistan boycott the 1980 Moscow Olympics? Did it? मतलब आपके हमारे इंडियन मदरसास बेटर हैं आपसे, पाकिस्तानी मदरसास से. यहाँ पे आके पढ़ लीजिए. हो सकता है काफी लोग यहाँ पे आके पढ़ते भी हैं. But look, as I said, Anand, I have nothing against the normal Pakistanis. Like we had nothing against the normal, ordinary South African citizens. We are taking a principled stand. When I say I have nothing against ordinary Pakistanis, possibly these two are an exception because they are terror apologists. अगर इनसे पूछो, they'll possibly, had a tea or chai or coffee with kasab before, they let loose kasab. So I would not be surprised. The bottom line is, you know who Mr. Salman Taseer was? Salman Taseer was a very high-ranking Pakistani administrator. He was murdered in cold blood by his own bodyguard. And you know what happened?
So,
that bodyguard was
Indira Gandhi was
eulogized
murdered by her
millions
own
of
bodyguard.
Pakistanis. That Pakistan,
Indira
that
Gandhi was murdered by her own bodyguard.
Please, 1 second. 1 second. Now that is your whataboutery. The point of the matter is Pakistan is not safe, even for people who have Pakistanis as bodyguards. So, my good friend, is absolutely right. You can't trust these people. Pakistanis cannot trust Pakistanis. Indians कैसे trust करेंगे?
No, not just that. They have not been
That's
able to.
only-
No, it was their own. That was their own cricketer who said कि 4 सूबे आपसे नहीं संभलते हैं.
Anand,
And
please
even
let
that,
me
even
respond.
that
Please
they,
let me respond, Anand.
even that they blamed it on
Anand, I
Bharat
asked you
again.
for one.
Yes,
one
yes,
statement.
Major Janjua, please respond.
Anand.
Yeah,
I
Umar
will not
Altaf
take
coming to you
long.
after Ishkaran Bhandari. Ji.
First
Anand,
answer,
I
did
just have to
Pakistan
make one
boycott
comment and I
Moscow
expect
Olympics?
you to answer this.
Did
And this is
Pakistan
nothing about
boycott
politics
Moscow
or cricket.
Olympics?
Anand,
Did
you.
Pakistan boycott Moscow Olympics? Did Pakistan boycott Moscow Olympics? Yes or no?
Okay. Yes.
Why?
So if
Why?
if
Why?
that does that mean
Why did
does
it,
that
why did
mean
it boycott? Why did
okay,
it boycott?
I'm
You were
okay,
just talking
listen
about
to my
Olympic
answer.
movement.
Listen to my answer.
Weren't you talking about
wrongs.
Olympic movement? Were you or were
Mr.
you not?
Ranganathan, two wrongs don't make a right. If we did not
so
do it
now
right,
it is wrong.
Okay.
Arey,
No.
Anand, I am asking you one question.
Ji.
Anand, I am asking you one
Ji,
question,
ji.
and that is purely to you. I was hoping that you, being the host, there are some ethical norms of journalism. You are taking sides. You are taking sides. I thought you are the moderator of this program. Now it's very clear that you are on Indian side because you are an Indian.
Absolutely,
But
sir.
you should not.
Will there
you should
ever
not-
be a
No,
compromise?
journalism-
Will there, sir? There can be
journalism-
no compromise as a
journalism is not
Bharatiya.
like that.
But my point
You
is, sir.
should-
But my point is, Major Janjua, I gave you the benefit of doubt to your intellect and to your wisdom that you would make some fact-based, sensible arguments to counter and make a relevant point.
Well,
but
I
you
am not as
but you
intellectual
flattered
as-
to deceive, sir. But I am also paying you a compliment that you gave us a nice round of 3 minutes of entertainment, which allowed us all a chuckle and laughter, and said,
Yeah.
this flight of fantasy
I'm
is
here
also
to entertain
possible.
you.
So
Anand,
I think
Anand, did you respond?
I was very, very charitable to your argument, and neither did I interrupt you when you were making your point. It's only when you were
did not.
when you
Anand,
tended to
please let me
when you
respond. I've been very patiently listening to all
only
the
when I
panelists.
got a
Please let me
sense that
respond
you're tending to lose yourself in your own labyrinth of eloquence. That's when I said you will have to stop, sir. Yes,
no.
Ishkaran Bhandari.
No, Anand, please let me respond. I've been
Anand,
patiently
while
waiting
it
for
was
it.
very
Umar
amusing,
Altaf,
one
after
second, Major,
Umar
I
Altaf, I'll
didn't
come to you
interrupt
after Ishkaran, please. I'll come to
I
you.
didn't interrupt
Yes.
you. Anand, while it was very amusing to listen to the Major, one of the things he said, India cannot damage the economy of Pakistan. I want to ask, how do you damage something which is dead and buried 100 feet under the ground? Their entire economy is less than Maharashtra and soon might be less than Tamil Nadu itself. They are asking for arms daily from China. There, and I'm repeating, Dawn newspaper, not Indian media, says donkey exports to Pakistan, to China will be increased to earn revenue for the economy of Pakistan. This is the level of their export-import policy. This is the level where dog meat is being sent to China to again earn money. How do we damage an economy of a nation which is relying on donkeys and dogs? It has an excessive population of donkeys. Probably it needs to export them. That is why we heard some prime donkeys coming here and trying to argue that India can damage the economy of Pakistan.
Okay,
or
yeah, it's
if
nice.
I heard correctly, that India lost
there's one thing. Ishkaran, there is one thing. There is one thing I would like to. I'm going to request everybody. I'm going to request everybody. See, we can all within the boundaries. General Janjo, just a minute. General Janjo, just a minute. I'm also making that same. I'm also making the same point. I'm just saying that let us refrain from taking personal jibes at anybody. We can do it without doing that within the realm of the debate, within the sanctity of the debate. We can make an argument. We can mock the other. We can counter the other. But let's not try and we can avoid that. All of us are.
That shows his education. That shows his upbringing.
No, sir. Please don't get into that. Please don't get into that realm, because that again will be counterproductive, sir. Let us not get there.
Then he must apologize.
Yeah, Omar Altaf.
Anand, just 10 seconds.
10 seconds to Ishkaran, and the final 90 seconds to Omar Altaf. Yes, Ishkaran.
Anand, to say somebody is making asinine arguments is not to call him a donkey. And donkey export is a matter of fact, which I have quoted from
No, donkey export is a matter of fact. But to call certain people donkeys can be taken at multiple ways. So for a lot of nations, donkeys are a matter of pride. For a lot of people, terms of reference can be below the belt and not unsolicited. So may I request you to please kindly refrain there. Argument and point has been taken. But Omar Altaf, when you make a point of multilateral platforms, Bharat has not said that they want to play Pakistan. It's Pakistan which has said that we want to play you. And there is the money angle that is involved. If Bharat, there is a clear money angle, and it is largely limited. It is largely limited only to cricket, because Neeraj Chopra continues to teach the Pakistani javelin thrower, and he continues to say learn from Neeraj Chopra, and he continues to do that, and he continues to thump him and continues to win gold for Bharat. So that's happening. Our volleyball team continues to thump the Pakistani team, but they continue to engage. Our taekwondo team continues to thump the Pakistani, but they continue to engage at all. But sir, when it comes to cricket, it's economics, sir, and the economics is hurting Pakistan. Which cricket board is in doldrums? Which team's cricket coach has to come out and unofficially, hammered the cricket team itself? And which team has seen multiple selectors, multiple managers, multiple captains over the last 3 years?
Why are you repeating yourself again and again? Okay, if you think the boycott suits you, go ahead. We'll see how much it dents the Pakistani economy. Now, I would like to respond to Mr. Ranganathan, who brought up.
Was it not a former Pakistani chief selector, chairman of selectors, who went about with a begging bowl saying that give us this much money or promise us money if we beat India? Who said that not so long ago? Who is on record who said that long ago? I need the money, we need the money, we are out there with a begging bowl.
Time to respond.
Please go ahead.
No, can't you give me a
Go
minute
ahead,
or two
please.
to respond?
Go ahead, please.
Mr. Ranganathan brought up about the killing of... Mr. Ranganathan, please be quiet. Have some manners, have the decency. I heard you.
Don't be personal, because I also can be personal. Anand, you just...
No, he's not being personal. He's not being personal. He just wants to make his point. Allow him his 90 seconds, please. Yeah.
I haven't said anything about you or made any ad hominem attacks like the advocate made. Please let me respond. You brought up about the killers of Salman Taseer. I must tell you, the killers of Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi and Indira Gandhi are glorified in Modi's India. You know what the Sikhs do to the killers of Sikhs? Think the killers of Indira Gandhi are heroes. And Nathuram Godse is also glorified by the RSS and members of BJP. That's the reality of India. Isn't that true? Isn't Nathuram Godse a hero? Aren't the killers of Indira Gandhi venerated in today's India? And now let me respond to what This guy Bhandari, who claims to be a advocate, the kind of language he has used, he should apologize, because this is absolutely shameless.
First apologize for advocating the tearing of our country. First apologize for the 65 war. First apologize for being hand in gloves with elements that are inimical to Bharat. First apologize for killing thousands of innocents with Pakistani sponsored bullets. First apologize for shielding Dawood Ibrahim. First apologize for shielding Hafiz Saeed. First apologize for shielding Osama bin Laden. And then apologize for the mayhem that you unleashed on the streets of Mumbai, sponsored it, and it was backed by your own military, a person who wore the uniform and believed in treachery. And then apologize to all those Pakistanis whose graves are in Bharat, sir. Whose graves are in Bharat, here in Dras, because the Pakistani soldiers refused to take them back. And apologize to those 90,000 soldiers and their families who were mocked and insulted because their own nation let go of them and continue to treat them as insults to the country, not anything else. Major Janjua still till date cannot forget 71. That's what's happened, sir. So first apologize all over there. Let's talk peace, walk peace. Let's stop terror. Then we will think about cricket on your soil, sir. तब तक सर काफिरों का पैसा नहीं मिलेगा सर. That's what, sir. That's the reality, sir. It's going to be economics, sir. And the economics today, where is it hurting you, sir? We are not taking anybody's lives. We are telling a nation that until you mend your waves, you are going to end up with a begging bowl, and you're nothing but begging to the whole world. Who's been isolated, who's been exposed is very, very evident. I've got to wind up on that note. Thank you very much to all our gentlemen. For joining us here. We're going to quickly get a move on, take a very short break, and when we come back, the big hug between Modi and Putin in Moscow, the big message from Prime Minister Modi and the big hint from President Putin. All of this, has it been lost on the West, especially the US, or is America deliberately trying to push Bharat into a corner? Do they have any point lecturing us? Stay with us.
as well as in Maha-Yuti also, because cross-voting is likely to take place, because in 2 years ago when this MLC election took place, during that time cross-voting took place in the Congress fraction, and Bhai Jagtap won the elections of MLC election instead of the Chandrakant Handore, who was the first preference of the Congress. But now the all eyes is on the MLA, like if someone will do the cross-voting, it's likely that one of the candidates from either from the Maha Vikas Aghadi or from Maha-Yuti will lose the election. But this election is very crucial, because from today onwards and next 3 months is very crucial for the Maharashtra politics, because Maharashtra Assembly election is due in the month of October. So now all Maha Vikas Aghadi as well as Maha-Yuti, both the party want that his candidate will win the election. So the tomorrow election is very crucial, because even the BJP has also given the ultimatum to all his MLAs, like not to do the cross-voting. And in Bhupen Yadav himself told in core committee meeting that keep watch on all the MLAs of BJP. Beside this, Congress is also doing the same tactic, and already Eknath
There is a reason that the Maha-Yuti needs to watch out, because they will want to have as much support in order to maintain dominance. But there's also a reason why the Maha Vikas Aghadi is perhaps looking at this election very closely. Many thanks for that, Preeti. I want to take in a quick word from Yesha, who's joining us on the phone line. Yesha, let's talk about the Shiv Sena UBT candidate, Milind Narvekar. Now, he, remember, enjoys a strong connection across parties in Maharashtra, and in that sense, the Maha Vikas Aghadi is going to certainly hope that this kind of an equation that he enjoys across the political spectrum turns out to be advantage MVA. What are we learning on that front? What are the kind of back channel talks underway?
Absolutely. In fact, when you speak of Milind Narvekar, he as a leader, for that matter, is someone who enjoys support across factions. In fact, not only Uddhav Thackeray faction, but also Shiv Sena Eknath Shinde faction is something that, that look up to him. Particularly here, he's been someone who's had a stronghold, and which is where we've also, of course, we've been hearing from Shiv Sena UBT faction that there are people who are supporting their candidates. This could, in fact, clearly mean that Milind Narvekar, who's a strong candidate, would be the one whom even Eknath Shinde's leaders are supporting. So here, of course, strong chances for Milind Narvekar. Also, what happens here is that we've seen the performance by the Maha Vikas Aghadi has been clearly something that has been strong, particularly when it comes to the Lok Sabha election results. In fact, ever since then, there have been no murmurs. There have been
Back on, ladies and gentlemen, Prime Minister Narendra Modi returned from his diplomatic visit to Russia and Vienna early Thursday morning. But the Russia leg of the trip seems to have irked America, the West and the NATO powers. Now, they've raised concerns with Bharat about the relationship, the friendship with Russia amid Moscow's invasion of Ukraine. The West has tried to put pressure on Bharat to distance itself. But Bharat has not only resisted the pressure, but has also sent out a loud and clear message, not just of strategic autonomy, but nobody dictates terms. We choose our friends, we define our relationships, and we work in a manner which Bharat believes is going to make this world, one family with a common future. PM Modi's Moscow visit highlighting, enduring yet another evolving Bharat-Russia relationship. The PM called Russia as Bharat's companion in joy and sorrow and a true friend. They have stood with us in testing times and we stand with them. And he said, and even in the coldest of winters in Russia, the equation with Bharat will always be warm. Meanwhile, the West taking exception to that big hug, the warm hug that Prime Minister Narendra Modi gave to his old-time friend. These two are meeting personally for the 17th time in 10 years, ladies and gentlemen. And that was to try and tell the West, we are not going to cow down to your lines. We are not going to bow down to your pressure. We are going to do what we feel is right. But the Prime Minister also very clearly in front of President Putin saying that this is not the time for war and the solutions to war. Bam banduk ke beech mein samadhan nahi nikal sakta. You cannot find the solution to war in the battlefield. One needs to sit in front of each other. And he also turned around and said that he's very, very encouraged the positive approach towards peace, finding solidarity, finding a solution to this conflict from President Putin has given Prime Minister Narendra Modi hope. This is what he said. But look at the US reaction, especially with the Indian ambassador or the US ambassador to India, Eric Garcetti. This is what he had to say.
It's important for us as Americans and as Indians to remember the more we put into this relationship, the more we will get out. The more we insist on kind of cynical calculation in the place of trusted relationship, the less we will get. But as I also remind my Indian friends, while it is wide and it is deeper than it's ever been, it is not yet deep enough. That if we take it for granted from the Indian side towards America, I'll fight a lot of defensive battles trying to help this relationship ahead.
No, but he has to also say that should he be as aggressive as he is? Has America walked the walk and talked the talk to actually make this relationship deeper? Ambassador Ashok Sajjanhar with us, Glenn Carl, former CIA officer and author with us, and Dr. Anand Ranganathan with us. Namaste. Thank you very much to everybody. Good evening. Ambassador Ashok Sajjanhar, the tone adopted by Eric Garcetti, would you appreciate that as an Indian citizen, as a Bharatiya, as a diplomat?
No, I think he is stepping a line because, normally what we do in diplomacy is that as far as the diplomats are concerned, as far as the ambassador is concerned, they maintain the best of relations with their host country because they have to work with them and they have to advance the relationship. If there are some unpalatable truths that are to be said, Anand, and there are times when they have to be said in different circumstances, although I do not agree that this was one of those opportunities when, any such truth needed to be mentioned. It is normally done by the, the headquarters, by the capital back home. It is not the ambassador who sort of, starts speaking about this as to what the host country should be doing. And I think in any case, the manner in which our relationship has developed, Anand, over the last 10 years between India and the United States. And it has been mentioned that it is, Prime Minister Modi has said that this is a partnership of trust. It's a trust between the two countries. And if there is a trust between the two countries, then I think it is incumbent upon them, if there are any issues, that they discuss it amongst themselves behind closed doors rather than sort of, coming out in the open and trying to point fingers at each other. I think we have, it needs to be very clearly understood that whatever India is doing as far as its relations with Russia are concerned, with Moscow are concerned, they are definitely not against the interests of the United States. It is to take our own relationship because we have, in terms of our defense partnership that we've had with Russia and the Soviet Union before that for many, many years, and we are continue to be dependent to the extent of 45-50% of our defense requirement from Russia, our energy needs and requirements. Even the West has said that they understand and they appreciate what India has done in terms of import of discounted oil, refining it, and then supplying it to the global markets. Because if India was not doing that, then the international price of oil would have gone through the roof. So I think these are issues that are not to be discussed, that are not to be, you don't discuss your bilateral
No, but this is not being,
last comment. Such important relations you don't discuss on television channels by ambassadors and, try to sort them out. These are to be done behind closed doors.
No, and does America really know how to trust then? Because are you trying to say, Glenn Carl, that if nations don't walk the path that America lays out, they're not trustworthy and they're not friends?
No, well, I'm not surprised at the reaction in India, certainly by the government, and here we just heard on air against the statement by the American ambassador or the U.S. reaction to Modi's visit. But I think actually that India has grown should have grown past that, just as you all are affirming, and it's the truth, that India has become one of the 4 major powers, I would say, in the world, and continues to rise, soon with a larger, to surpass China in a number of ways. It also should be true that the nation can understand that there will be reactions to its national interest pursuit policies. The U.S. hasn't criticized, and in fact has worked pretty assiduously since the beginning of Russia's invasion, not to criticize India and to explicitly recognize that India will pursue its own national interests. But to give a bear hug to someone who's invaded a country and explicitly, directly, intentionally bombed a children's hospital is probably an unwise gesture to have made. And so to criticize the U.S. for reacting to that, I think shows an unnecessarily thin skin given the growing strength of India.
But then has US actually walked the talk when it has, when nations that have invaded Bharat and US continues to engage with them? It had its air bases in Pakistan and it was engaging with Pakistan for so many years. US invaded Afghanistan. So at that time, should Bharat have not shaken hands with Afghanistan? And that time it's a fight against terror. The US is the one, the CIA is the one that trained Osama bin Laden in the first place. Now that's an open secret. The US invaded Iraq. US invaded Iraq on the premise of weapons of mass destruction, and then 15 years later said there are no weapons of mass destruction. So should India not shake hands, should India have not shaken hands or given a hug to Barack Obama or President Biden or even before that other leaders? So, can one narrative, I'm just asking you, Glenn, can one nation's narrative supersede the other nation's position? That's what I'm asking you.
No, you put a lot of ingredients into the soup there. Certainly the U.S. has done an uncountable number of things in foreign policy and military actions that one can fairly criticize, that were predicted that would be errors, were found out to be errors, and are widely viewed as such. But that has nothing to do with whether one should criticize or comment upon the action of any state. And in this instance, India, I think, Modi made an error by giving a bear hug to someone who had just bombed a children's hospital. That's not a comment on whether India should or will pursue its national interests, or should, which it won't, align with the United States as a subordinate state. That's simply not going to happen. But to react that to the point where criticism of an action is considered hostility is too thin-skinned.
Ambassador Sajanar, how do you want to respond? Because there is a counterpoint of view that says that had that bear hug not happened, had that warmth not been there, Prime Minister Narendra Modi would not have been able to sit in front of President Putin and tell him that solutions to war cannot be found in the battlefield. And he would have not been able to sit there and openly say that it pains when innocent children die.
No, you see, I think there is a particular manner, a particular body language that an individual has. And we are aware of the body language and the rapport that the Prime Minister has with world leaders. You know, when he meets President Joe Biden, he also has the same hug for him, also with President Macron and, the other leaders of friendly countries. Now, if you are visiting another country and you say that, I'm going to sort of, stand aloof and, do a namaste or something and not have, a close bear hug in terms of, reacting and responding to each other. I think that would have sent a very different sort of a message. I don't think there should be anything all that much that should be read into this bear hug. This is a way that, the Prime Minister has been over the last 10 years, and people should really understand that, should know that this is the way he relates to world leaders who are friendly to India and friendly to him, with whom he has a good rapport. So I don't think there should be all that much read into it. Like Glenn Carl is saying that he should not have done that. I would say, please don't read so much into it. And if you have any point to make, please make it behind closed doors. Why do you have to come out in the open and castigate and be critical?
That's because President Zelensky went public with it. President Zelensky was the first one to respond, and I think that's where
Anand,
the entire...
I say that Prime Minister Modi gave a similar bear hug to President Zelensky also. So, it is not that it is...
at that time, Russia did not come around and say, how can you hug Zelensky? So there is a point.
I find that a little... I find that...
but when it comes to deepening the trust, Dr. Ranganathan, do you believe it's a little rich coming from Eric Garcetti, especially when the Five Eyes have been set upon to try and hurt Bharat's image, especially when US refuses to cooperate in trying to, extradite a wanted and a designated terrorist in Gurpatwant Panun? The Khalistani elements are being celebrated at the House of Commons, and the US did not say anything. A terrorist, a wanted person was celebrated there in the, beg your pardon, Canadian House of Commons.
Look, the hypocrisy is just astonishing. So people are objecting to a bear hug. Is that not relative? I object to a handshake. Did Biden not shake hands with the Pakistan Prime Minister? Pakistan is a terror state as far as we are concerned. Did we, raise this with the Americans? Has the West or Ukraine or any of the 50-odd Islamic nations put sanctions on China for interning 1.5 million Muslims in concentration camps and forcibly sterilizing them and feeding them pork? Even as late as this beginning of this year, US EIA reports that back in October, US continues to import Russian oil, as many as 40,000 barrels, almost 2 years into the Ukraine war. They are still importing Russian oil. Looking forward to Europe, for example, 2 years into the Russian invasion, continues to buy 13 million metric tons of coal, 43 billion cubic meters of gas, and 17.5 million metric tons of oil from Russia. And they are lecturing India on morality and ethics. Germany is buying Russian fuel from Belgium and Holland. Europe is buying refined Russian fuel from Jamnagar. Americans were importing 9% of their crude from Russia well beyond the Ukraine war. What the hell is going on? So please, enough of your hypocrisy. We are doing something that is important for our national interest, period.
But in this case, they are saying, did he really have to hug Vladimir Putin?
Well, I object to a handshake. Why did Biden have to shake hands with a terror nation apologist?
Glenn Carl.
Well, I think we have is almost a Hollywood or Bollywood example of what worsens the situation by an exaggerated reaction. The issue is, I mean, we've crystallized the discussion around the hug, but of course the issue really isn't the hug. It's India's choices on its how to pursue its national interests. And I'll reiterate that I think it's pretty clear that the United States has gone a long way, quite explicitly attempted to indicate that it understands India will pursue its national interests. The issue isn't that the U.S. somehow, got somebody in the United States, this is news to me, bought 40,000 barrels of oil. The issue on the oil question, and we've thrown a lot of things together, which always creates confusion and dispute, is what are the trends? And Europe made a strategic error decades ago to marry itself for energy to Russia. But it is trying to wean itself and has done significant things to do that since Russia invaded Ukraine, while India has found a good deal and managed to get below what otherwise would be world market prices, well over 10 times more oil since the war, imports since the war began, than before. That's all.
Right, but in this case, it's just that if you want to deepen the trust between two nations, then you cannot use, certain tools to try and keep that nation on tenterhooks and to try and use that while trying to get the nation to behave in the manner and in the trend or in the that like you would do. You have to respect that nation's choice. That also applies on the US. So if Bharat wants to exert a strategic autonomy, US cannot take exception to that and saying, no, you cannot do it in this manner. You cannot do it in that manner. That means then the US is trying to drive its terms. Gentlemen, I've run out of time, so we'll take this conversation forward. We're waiting for an official reaction from the External Affairs Ministry. So far, there's been none. We'll keep close tabs on that. Winding up this edition of The Right Stand on that note. Brass Tacks with Zakir Jacob up next. Stay with us.
How there'll be several leaders would be supporting, would be looking to jump back to the original UBT, that is the UBT faction. And similarly, there have been murmurs about how there are several people from the NCP Ajit Pawar faction as well who are supporting the Sharad Pawar faction. So all of these are crucial aspects. This, in fact, once the MLC elections are done, is where we'll be able to understand the kind of support, or how much is the weight to all of these rumors that have been making rounds in the political circles. So whether they were in fact something that stood the ground, clearly when you
so that's as far as the political equations are concerned and what's unfolding in Maharashtra. But Yasha, tell us a little bit about the number game, since numbers speak the loudest in the MLC election as well. What's the process that's going to be followed? How many votes does each candidate require in order to secure their seat for the next 6 years?
So yes, this is like a support that the request of 23 MLCs. Apart from that, now when you speak of the number game, now there are 12 positions that are vacant, of which there are 11 positions that need to be filled. So 12 candidates for 11 positions. In fact, as far as the rumors in the political circle was concerned, in fact, until 3 weeks back, it was very obvious that this election would go without any voting, and there'll be just or there'll be only 11 candidates which will be sealed. However, when you speak of the BJP, they sealed 5 candidates, including Pankaj Munde, who did not make it during the Lok Sabha election. Apart from that, when you speak of the Shiv Sena Eknath Shinde faction, 2 candidates have been sealed, and 2 more candidates have been sealed by the NCP Ajit Pawar faction, which brings there to a total tally to 9. Here clearly there's a huge chunk that we see with the Maha-UT, but on the other hand, when it comes to Mahavikas Aghadi, they've sealed 1 candidates each, which means 3 candidates, which makes it 12. So here the number game clearly, of course, there's a larger chunk with the BJP. Mahavikas Aghadi has just had 3 candidates which have been sealed, but what needs to be seen is that some of these leaders, be it Pankaj Munde, some of the tall leaders, for that matter, even Milind Narvekar, who enjoy a mass base, what would be their stance, or what would be the kind of support that they receive, particularly post...
And even the MLA support, that number is very crucial. And the Maha-UT, of course, enjoys a larger share with the 203 MLAs in total as opposed to 69 of the Mahavikas Aghadi. Maharashtra, ahead of the assembly elections, the state is all geared up for a semi-final contest. The biennial elections for 11 seats of Maharashtra Legislative Council is all set to take place tomorrow amid fears of poaching, cross-voting, the MLC polls may trigger another round of political developments in the state. The Congress has organized a dinner party for all its MLAs at Hotel Intercontinental today. Shinde Sena will also have its MLAs stay at Hotel Taj Lands End. The ruling Mahayuti alliance has in fact fielded 9 candidates, while the opposition Mahavikas Aghadi has 3 nominees in fray. With 5 candidates, the BJP has fielded the maximum. Ajit Pawar's NCP and Shinde Sena getting 2 nominees each, and among the MVA partners, Congress and Shiv Sena UBT have fielded 1 candidate each, while the NCP-SP is supporting Peasants and Workers Party of India candidate Jayant Patil. So that's how the contest is laid out, and that's the kind of segregation we see of the several political parties, the manner in which they've been given some of the numbers on who is going to be contesting in the MLC elections, and a couple of political reactions coming in as well before we talk about the ground situation. Listen in.
हमने तो किसी को होटल में रखा नहीं है, जिन्होंने होटल में अपने सांसदों को विधायकों.
This is CNN News 18 and Federal Bank Primetime Studio.
Good evening, this is Rustax. We're coming to you live from the CNN News 18 and Federal Bank Primetime Studio. Tonight's topic of discussion, the curious case of Pooja Khedkar, the young IAS officer from Pune. It's got the national imagination because she has come to represent, in a perverse sort of way, everything that is wrong with Indian bureaucracy or Babudom. First, she was caught using a lal batti or a red light, which is a status symbol or a power trip symbol on her Audi A4 car, a luxury car. Then when social media was outraged by it, how is it that a young officer, IAS officer on probation, can afford an Audi luxury car and ask for a lal batti on top of it? And social media folks started digging deeper into her antecedents. That's when it turned out to be even more